Hi, welcome to the Pigskin Postgame Wrap for Week 6. I'm Joe Cortez, joined by Ron Agostini and James Burns. Fellas, we are off and running in the Trans-Valley League. You were at Lloyd Ingle Field tonight for Houston versus Escalon.
That's right, Joe. And Escalon was beaten tonight by Houston 28-14. Houston's side was packed. They anticipated that first win over Escalon in 15 years, and they got it. And it starts a pretty interesting TVL race. Houston goes right back into the fire next week with a pretty big game against Modesto Christian. And that kind of tells you what it's going to be like in the TVL this year.
Absolutely. You were at Hillmar.
McSweeney Field. You talk about streaks being broken. Ripon goes into McSweeney Field and wins for the first time in what they believe is well over 30 years. Their first win in Hillmar. And I'll tell you what, I was getting heckled. I told you guys I was getting heckled on the way out of Hillmar for jumping off the Ripon bandwagon. But if they play like they did in the first half, where they outscored Hillmar 31-6,
wow.
and they've got everything just working, they are going to be a scary team in the TVL.
It's a long time they've done that to Hillmar at Hillmar.
Yeah, nobody can remember the last time. I mean, they
Wow.
simply just overwhelmed them. A lot of Nick Price played like a third-year quarterback. They had the passing game. He finally does have the skill players around him. He has a great relationship with Aaron Pacini out wide, and then Jacob Duxbury. Watch this kid play. He might be like all of 5'8", 140 pounds, but he runs stubborn and he finishes like he's 250.
What was his line tonight?
He had over 300 yards of 300 all-purpose yards. He went for 208 on the ground. I think a $114 through the air, and he was also a factor on special teams too. So. Just a great win for Ripon tonight, and a great opening statement. I felt like they brought it.
And Modesto Christian, of course, gets a win.
The defending champions.
The defending champions. They beat Mountain House.
Yeah.
Obviously, there they roll. So,
couple notes on that. I mean, it was their homecoming night.
MC's
homecoming night, and it was win number 98 for Coach Parsons.
Mike Parsons, right? 98.
So he's fast approaching a milestone.
Yeah. Players are emerging now as we get into these league races. I saw one tonight, Justice Futch of Houston.
Yes.
He's only 235 pounds.
5'11".
He is a sledgehammer.
Shake the kid's hand. Did you shake the kid's hand?
No, I didn't.
It's like a vice.
Glad I didn't.
Yeah.
He's a big man. Big young man.
Hey, Valley Oak Lake, the big three win tonight. Central Catholic rolls Kimball, Oakdale beats Lathrop, and Manteca rolls crosstown rival Sierra. That's shaping up to be a three-team race now.
Yeah, a couple interesting notes from that Manteca game. They beat Sierra 43-8. All this talk about Manteca's two-quarterback system and Gino Campiotti being able to wing it and go through the air. Manteca scores all of its touchdowns on the ground. They go old school against a rival. Dare you to stop me. Run it right down your throat with Darian Kitson. They hold Mark Palais to 20 yards on 13 carries.
That's good defense.
Wow. It's very good defense.
Mark Palais, of course, rushed for 2,024 yards last year.
43 rushing touchdowns last year. It sets the table for an interesting matchup next week. Central Catholic goes to Manteca.
Interesting matchup. Tell them what you said, Buffalo boy.
I'm gonna lay it down right here. It's my upset special for next week. So there's no surprises when the prediction show comes out. I think I'm gonna go with Manteca to hold serve at home. Love the way that defense is playing. I think we'll see more of that two-quarterback system against Central Catholic. That'll be a good test for the Raiders.
It'll be a great game.
Yeah, well, two quarterbacks or not, that is what Manteca does, though. On the ground, pounding it.
Yeah.
Hey, I was over at Dan Gonzalez Stadium tonight for the Sylvan Bowl, and Bayer defeated Enox 34-7. Enox was able to hold Jay Green to about 50 yards rushing tonight, but they couldn't stop him through the air. He scored. He was running around on screen passes like crazy, had well over 100 yards receiving, and Bayer looked really good. Bayer looked a lot better than when I saw them get blown out by Tracy a couple weeks ago. But Bayer's a team on the come.
Yeah, that's a tip of the cap to the Bayer staff for maybe recognizing that, hey, we just can't keep running Jay Green.
Yeah.
We got to find other ways to make him effective and use him.
Yeah.
Get him out in that passing game.
You know, Bayer had a tough 4-game preseason schedule. Real tough.
Excuse me.
Bless you, Ron.
Excuse me.
Real tough 4-game preseason stretch. And Doug Sevier said that you really should consider firing the AD at Bayer High.
Get out of here.
Of course, Doug is the AD.
That'd be an interesting meeting.
Yeah. Hey, a couple of other scores tonight of note. Gustine defeats Denier 44-0. No surprise there, but they stay 6-0. Or they improved to 6-0.
And they got a test next week. And speaking of big games, they got to go to Ripon Christian next week.
Right. They've got to go to Ripon Christian. Or Estimba beats Mariposa 49-21. They're 6-0. I'm just saying,
Traveling.
You know,
traveling.
the battle for the chief.
Week 10.
The Chief.
The Chief. It could be 2 9-0 teams playing there. Ripon Christian, of course, beats Waterford 59-0. So, like you said, that's going to be a big game in the Southern League next week. So that's about it for this week's edition of the Pigskin Postgame Wrap. Check out all our content on modbee.com. Follow us on Twitter, and we will see you back here next week.